Today marks the 10th anniversary of the Darksiders franchise. The first game launched on January 5th, 2010 for the PS3 and Xbox 360. After that, it got ported on nearly every console in between now and then. The Switch edition is the most recent as of last April. The game takes place on Earth, where the apocalypse is heralded too soon, and War, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, is blamed for the whole ordeal. Stripped of his rank and banished, he is now on a quest to uncover the real threat through the wastes of what remains, involving demons, angels, and everything in between. At the time of its release, it received fairly good reviews, with a lot of praise going to its hack-and-slash gameplay and inspiration nods to games like Zelda and even Portal. It almost unapologetically borrows from these games while remaining true to itself thanks to the art style by famed comic book artist Joe Madureira, who also co-directed and wrote the game. So while it does lift heavily from other franchises in a weird mishmash, the story, idea, and execution made it unique. So much so that by the end, teasing the return of his brethren, I couldn't wait to see a sequel, even though by no means was the game perfect. In 2 years, I got my wish, as Darksiders 2 released on August 14th, 2012 for PC, PS3, and Xbox 360, with more ports to follow just like the original. This time, players took on the role of Death, and this served as both a prequel and a parallel narrative to the first game. Instead of Zelda, this one felt more in line with looter RPGs. The combat was also a little bit more fast-paced, leaning more towards Devil May Cry, and parts even seemed a little inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. As a sequel, it was both satisfying and disappointing. Based on the original ending, I was hoping for answers which were never revealed, as this, again, took place primarily in the same time frame. Death was also a character that was harder to like, from his actual characteristics to his goofy 90s X design, which made him look like a doodle some angsty teen drew. But it was fun regardless of my end complaints, and gave me hope that the third game would finally answer my lingering questions. But it did not, which was the least of its problems. Now, shortly after the release of Darksiders 2, THQ, the publisher, filed for bankruptcy that December. All assets were auctioned away a month later, thus dissolving Vigil Games, the developer, in the process. Rights for the IP went to Nordic Games, who was able to partner up with a variety of developers to help port these two games and keep the franchise alive, in some form. As for Vigil Games, the studio split in two. Some went to Crytek USA, while Joe Madureira went on to help form Airship Syndicate. Their first game, Battle Chasers Night War, was a sequel to his comic as a turn-based RPG. With all of these parties going their separate ways, it seemed impossible for the third entry to ever come out. However, at long last, Darksiders 3 was revealed in 2017 and launched the following year on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on November 27th, 2018. The 6-year wait was unfortunately not worth it. First of all, it starred Fury, the first female horseman, which was cool, but it took place parallel to the second game and also mostly a prequel to the first. So yes, it too did little to answer my questions. On top of that, the game was buggy and lacked an overall sheen of polish. This time it was inspired by the Dark Souls realm of games with punishing difficulty, but one without the solid combat and that gratifying sense of reward. I was pretty heartbroken, to say the least. Fortunately, all is not yet lost. At the end of last year, Airship Syndicate worked on Darksiders Genesis, a top-down Diablo-like spin-off starring War and Strife for PC and Stadia. I haven't played it yet, but it is due out on consoles soon, and the buzz has been pretty decent for the original launch, so it gets me pretty excited. It may not be the game I wanted, but it at least looks better than 3, and assuredly means that this franchise is far from over. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!